All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to take the derivative of the natural log function. And so just a quick recap on what the natural log function is in case you have forgotten from your pre-calculus course. The natural log function is a log function with the base of e, which is Euler's number. It's about 2.718 and plenty more decimals, but it's a special irrational number like pi that shows up a lot in mathematics. And so when we have a log with that base of e, we write it as this function, the natural log function. And that number e is the solution to the equation the natural log of x is equal to 1, right? If we plug the number e into the natural log function, that will be equal to 1. Right, so just like if we had a log of base 10 and we plugged 10 into that function, that would be equal to 1 because the base is the same as that value that we plugged in. If we had a log with base e and we plug e into that function, that would also be equal to 1, which is why this is true. And so that's what the natural log function is in case you were not familiar. And so before we look at the derivative rule, or how to take the derivative of the natural log function, we need to also recall some of the properties of logarithms as they pertain to the natural log function. And so here we have four very important properties of the natural log function. The first one is that the natural log of 1 is equal to 0. And then our second property is if we have the natural log of two values, a and b, multiplied together, that is equal to the natural log of that first value, a, plus the natural log of that second value, b. Right, so if we had the natural log of x times the square root of x, that would be equal to the natural log of x plus the natural log of the square root of x. Right, we could split up these two values being multiplied together into two separate terms of the natural log of the first term, x, plus the natural log of the second term, the square root of x. And so that is how this property works. Our third property is that the natural log of some value a to the power n is equal to that power n times the natural log of a. And so essentially what this property is telling us is if we have a value that is raised to a power within our natural log function, we can move that power to the outside of the natural log function. And so for example, if we had the natural log of x squared, that would be equal to 2 times ln x, or the natural log of x. Right, we took this power of 2 from x squared and moved it out front of the natural log function, and so we're just left with that x, which corresponds to a in our property right here. All right, so this is going to be a very important property to remember when you go to differentiate natural log functions. But before we look at that, we have one more property to look at, and that is if we have the natural log of the quotient of two values a and b, that is equal to the natural log of a minus the natural log of b. Right, so if we had the natural log of x divided by the square root of x, that would be equal to the natural log of x minus the natural log of the square root of x. Right, so whatever is in our numerator is in our first term, so we have the natural log of x, and then we will subtract the natural log of our denominator, which is the square root of x. And so that is how this property for the natural log is going to work. All right, so now that we have reviewed the most important properties of the natural log function, we are ready to now look at the derivative of the natural log function. And so let's do that now. All right, so if we want to take the derivative of the natural log function, that's going to be equal to 1 divided by x. And that is given that x is greater than 0, right? Because the natural log function is only defined for positive values that are greater than 0, right? So the natural log is not defined for negative values, and it's not defined for 0. The values have to be greater than 0. And so that's important to keep in mind as you work with the natural log function. And so this is the most basic form of the derivative rule for the natural log function, right? If you just have x inside the natural log function, then it's a pretty simple derivative of 1 divided by x. But if you have a different function inside the natural log, such as u, and u can represent any other function. It could be the square root of x, it could be x plus 1, it could be x squared minus 2x, it could be any function defined with x, right? U just represents a function that is differentiable with respect to x. Then we need to use the chain rule where the outside function is the natural log function and the inside function is u. And so we would have 1 divided by that inside function u times the derivative of u with respect to x. And so another way of writing that would be that this is equal to the derivative of u, or u prime, divided by u. And again, that is given that u is greater than 0 because the natural log function is only defined for positive values. And so for example, let's take a look at taking a derivative of a natural log function. let's say that we want to find the derivative, d dx, of the function the natural log of x cubed, right? How would we find the derivative of this function? Well, according to this rule right here, the derivative of the natural log of some function u is equal to 1 divided by u times the derivative of u, right? So we'll start by taking what is inside the natural log function and putting it in the denominator of a fraction, right? We're going to have 1 divided by whatever is inside a natural log function. So in this case, we're going to have 1 divided by x cubed, right? Because x cubed is inside our natural log function. And then we're going to multiply that by the derivative of that function u. And so in this case, what is the derivative of x cubed? Well, if we use the power rule for derivatives, we will multiply the exponent down. And so we'll have 3x. And then we need to subtract 1 from the exponent. So we'll have 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. All right, and so then if we simplify this, this is equal to 3x squared divided by x cubed. And so notice that this x squared is going to cancel out with an x squared in the denominator here, right? This could be rewritten to be 3 times x divided by x times x, right? X cubed means we have x times itself 3 times, and x squared is x times x. And so we'll have 2 x's cancel out from the top and the bottom. And so all we're left with is 3 divided by x. And so that is the answer to this derivative. The derivative of the natural log of x cubed is equal to 3 divided by x. And so that's how we would use this derivative rule right here. However, there's actually an easier way to go about this specific derivative if we remember our properties of our natural log function. Remember what we just saw earlier, that if you have the natural log of some function raised to a power, you can move that power to the outside of that natural log function. And so another way that we could take this derivative is to rewrite this function, and we'll have the derivative d dx of 3 times the natural log of x, right? We took the power of what is inside our natural log function, right? We have x cubed. We took that power and moved it outside, so we have 3 times the natural log of x. And so now this is just going to be equal to 3 times the derivative d dx of the natural log of x. And we know that the natural log of x is just equal to 1 divided by x. And so this is equal to 3 times 1 divided by x, which is equal to 3 divided by x. And so we get the same answer either way, whether we keep the function in its original state of the natural log of x cubed, or we change it to make it simpler by pulling out that exponent to the front, we get the same answer with both methods. However, you'll probably notice that this second method was a lot easier and a little bit quicker. And so it's important to remember the properties of the natural log function as you go through these different derivatives, because they're going to make some of these derivatives a whole lot easier to find and take a lot less time. All right, so let's look at another example of taking the derivative of a natural log function. All right, so next up we have the derivative of the natural log of x plus 8. And so in this case, we're not going to be able to use any of our logarithmic properties to make this derivative any simpler. In fact, this is already going to be pretty easy because the derivative of our inside function is just going to be 1. But we'll look at that in a second. Let's start by just taking what is inside our natural log function and putting it under 1, right? So our first step of finding this derivative is that it will be equal to 1 divided by x plus 8, right? Whatever is inside your natural log function, you're going to have 1 divided by that function, and then you're going to multiply by the derivative of that function. And so in this case, the derivative of x is just 1, right? The derivative of any variable to the first power is just going to be equal to the coefficient of that variable, which in this case, it's just 1x. So the derivative would be 1. So we're going to have 1. And then the derivative of 8 is 0 because the derivative of any constant is 0. And so we don't need to worry about adding plus 0. And so we just have 1 divided by x plus 8 times 1, which is going to be equal to 1 divided by x plus 8. And so that's the final answer to this derivative. Okay, and so then if we look at our next example here, we have the derivative of the natural log of 2x squared plus 3. And so our first step to finding this derivative is that it's going to be equal to 1 divided by whatever is inside our natural log function. And so we're going to have 2x squared plus 3, and then we're going to multiply by the derivative of that inside function. In this case, the derivative of 2x squared is going to be equal to 2 multiplied down, so we're going to have 2 times 2, so that will be 4, and then we're going to be multiplying it by x to the power of 2 minus 1, right? We want to subtract 1 from the exponent, so we're just going to have x to the power of 1, And then the derivative of 3 is going to be 0 because 3 is a constant. And so 4x is our derivative of our inside function. And so if we multiply these two together, this will be equal to 4x divided by 2x squared plus 3. And that is our final answer to this derivative. Okay, let's look at another example. All right, next we have the derivative of the natural log of 5x plus 2 minus x cubed. And so this isn't going to be too different from our previous examples. We're going to start by saying that this is equal to 1 divided by this inside function. So we'll have 5x plus 2 minus x cubed. And then we're going to multiply by the derivative of this inside function. And the derivative of 5x is going to be 5, right? It's just equal to the coefficient of that x to the first power. So we will have 5. And then the derivative of 2 is going to be 0 because 2 is a constant. There are no variables in that term. And then we have negative x cubed, and the derivative of that is going to be negative 3x squared, right? We multiply the exponent down and then subtract 1 from the exponent, so we have 3x squared. All right, and so then if we go through with this multiplication, this will be equal to 5 minus 3x squared divided by 5x plus 2 minus x cubed. And that can't be reduced any further, and so this is going to be our final answer. And so this ended up being a pretty simple derivative to find. Let's look at another example. All right, so next we have the derivative of the natural log of 2x divided by x plus 6. And so this one's going to require a different process to find the derivative. Note that if we were to take 1 divided by this function and then multiply by the derivative, we would have to use the quotient rule to take the derivative of this function because we have the quotient of two functions inside the natural log function. Instead of doing that, let's remember that property of the natural log that if we have the quotient of two terms inside the natural log function, that's going to be equal, and if we keep that in the derivative, to the natural log of the numerator, 2x, minus the natural log of the denominator, x plus 6. Right? That is using one of our properties that we looked at the beginning of this lesson. And so now what we can do is take the derivative of each of these terms, which is a whole lot simpler than taking the derivative of the natural log of that quotient. And so this will be equal to the derivative of the natural log of 2x. And so we'll start by taking 1 divided by that inside function. So we'll have 1 divided by 2x. And then we're going to multiply by the derivative of that inside function. And the derivative of 2x is equal to 2. And so we'll multiply by 2. And then we will subtract the derivative of the natural log of x plus 6. And so we'll start by taking our inside function and putting it under 1. So we'll have 1 divided by x plus 6. And then we will multiply by the derivative of that inside function, which in this case is just going to be 1 because the derivative of x is 1 and the derivative of 6 is 0 because 6 is a constant. And so then if we simplify, these 2's will cancel out, and this will be equal to 1 divided by x minus 1 divided by x plus 6. And so you could keep your answer in this form if you wanted to. This is technically the derivative of this function, but you could also simplify this a little bit more by getting a common denominator and combining these two fractions. And so if we multiply each of these fractions by a form of 1 of what is in the denominator of the other fraction, right? So this will be equal to 1 divided by x times x plus 6 divided by x plus 6 minus 1 divided by x plus 6 times x divided by x. We just multiplied each of these terms by a form of 1 of what is in the other fraction's denominator, and that is going to give them a common denominator, which you will see. And so if we clean up our work here, this will be equal to x plus 6 divided by x squared plus 6x, and we will subtract x divided by x squared plus 6x. All right, and so then we can combine the numerators because they have the same denominator. And notice that we have a negative x here and a positive x, and so those are going to cancel out. And so this is just going to be equal to that 6 divided by x squared plus 6x. And that will be the final answer to this derivative. Okay, let's look at a few more examples. All right, so for this example, we have that the function f of x is equal to the natural log of the cubed root of x, and we want to find the derivative f prime of x. All right, and so the first thing that we're going to want to do here is to rewrite this cubed root to be a power. And we know that the cubed root can be rewritten to be the 1/3 power. And so we'll have that the function f of x is equal to the natural log of x to the 1/3 power. And so then what we can do is use one of our logarithmic properties that we looked at to move this power to the outside of the natural log function. And so our function will be equal to 1/3 times the natural log of x. And so that means that f prime of x is going to be equal to the derivative of this function, and that's just going to be equal to 1/3 times the derivative of the natural log of x. And so we'll have 1 divided by 3, or 1/3 times 1 divided by x, right? That's the derivative of the natural log of x. And so that means that f prime of x will be equal to 1 divided by 3 times x, and that is going to be the solution to this problem. Let's look at another example. All right, next we have that y is equal to the 4th root of the natural log of x, and we want to know what y prime is, or the first derivative of this function. And so in this case, let's rewrite the 4th root to be this function to the 1/4 power. And so we'll have that y is equal to the natural log of x to the 1/4 power. And be careful here, you cannot use your logarithmic properties for this function, unlike the last example, because this power is not inside the natural log function, right? It's on the outside. Our natural log function is being taken to this power. This power is not inside the natural log. All right, and so in this case, we're going to have to use the chain rule because we have this composite function. We have the outside function of this quantity to the 1/4 power, and we have the inside function of the natural log of x. And so we'll start by taking the derivative of the outside function. And so for y prime, this will be equal to 1/4 times the natural log of x to the 1/4 minus 1 power. Right, so we multiplied the power down to get 1/4, kept that inside function the same, and then subtracted 1 from the exponent. And then we need to multiply by the derivative of the inside function, which we know the derivative of the natural log of x is 1 divided by x. And so if we simplify, this will be equal to 1/4 times the natural log of x to the -3/4 power, right? 1/4 minus 1 is -3/4, and this is still multiplied by 1 divided by x. And so then if we move this quantity with a negative exponent to the denominator, then we will have that this is equal to 1 divided by 4 times x, and that will be multiplied by the natural log of x to the 3/4 power, right? So now we moved this term to the denominator, and so that power is now positive, and so this will be our final answer. This is y prime, or the derivative of our function. And if you wanted to, you could rewrite the natural log of x to the 3/4 power to be the 4th root of the natural log of x cubed. But again, that's just optional. I thought I would mention it in case you were curious of what that 3/4 power meant. Okay, let's look at one more example for this video. All right, so finally we have y equals the natural log of the absolute value of sine x, and we want to know the derivative dy dx of this function. And so don't let these absolute value bars trip you up. All these mean is that we are only looking at positive values of the sine function, right? Because remember, the natural log function is only defined for positive values, and the sine function does have some negative values, and so by putting these absolute value bars there, we ensure that we are only plugging positive values into the natural log function. All right, and so because of that, because the natural log function is only defined for positive values, these absolute value bars do not change the process of taking the derivative of this function. And so we'll have that dy dx, or the derivative of that function, is equal to 1 divided by the inside function of our natural log. So we're going to have 1 divided by sine x, and that will be multiplied by the derivative of that inside function. And so the derivative of sine x is cosine x. And so we have that our derivative is equal to cosine x divided by sine x, which if you remember your trigonometric identities, cosine divided by sine is equal to cotangent. And so we have cotangent of x. And so that is the derivative of our function, the natural log of the absolute value of sine x. All right, and so with that, that's all I had for this lesson. If you want to see some more examples, I'll have our examples video linked at the end of this video, as well as in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. But if you don't have any questions, this is all I had for now. So I will see you next time.